Good afternoon and welcome to this weekend's edition of Mocs News. I'm Tia Roach.
And I'm Emily Kulik. UTC campus mourns the loss of Grady Bogue Wednesday as he experienced his final days from cancer. Bogue served as interim chancellor for UTC from September 2012 until July 2013. The Bogue family posted journal entries on a website throughout Grady's time in the hospital. The website includes Bible quotes, ways to donate to the family, and photos. The latest update was posted by Sarah Bogue on October 28th, stating, "Since mid-afternoon, Dad has been unresponsive with labored breathing, indicating the end is near. Immediate family is here or on the way. When I arrived, I read Psalm 23 to Dad, even though he could not respond. I read through several other Psalms that he had marked in his King James Bible. These moments are precious, and we are so thankful for God's grace during this time." Sometime last week, Dad gave Mom a special message to share with the Caring Bridge family. We will be sure and post that message soon. Thank you for your continued prayers of peace and comfort. In Christ's love, Sarah. The Knoxville visitation will be Saturday, November 2nd, 4 to 7 p.m. at Laurel Church of Christ, 3457 Kingston Pike. A funeral service will follow at 7 p.m. at the church. The Nashville visitation will be Monday, November 4th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Hillsborough Church of Christ, 5800 Hillsborough Pike. A graveside service will follow at Woodlawn Cemetery. For more information, visit Grady Bogue's site at caringbridge.org.
Students spent the last 3 days in Heritage Plaza listening to an evangelist that captured their attention. Tia Coleman has the story.
Heritage Plaza was packed with students for the past 3 days as they circled around the street preacher that answered questions and gave responses that had students in an uproar. I'm Tia Coleman with Mocs News.
You know, I know when I come out here, people are going to hate me. I know that. That's part of the package. But I know there's also going to be people that listen. And the main thing is that God commands the Great Commission. That was the last thing Jesus said. So I feel like I'm just obeying the Great Commission. I'm going to preach the gospel and call people to repent. Jesus said repent and believe the gospel. You have freedom of speech, you know. So like I preached at Harvard and Yale and Princeton, I knew it was a private school, but I really wanted to preach there. So I went on, I preached, and then I got back off. And then, you know, stay on the sidewalk. So, yeah, this is public. This is the real deal. Anybody can do this.
Cummings just showed up to UTC without any notice and stood in the very center of campus and started to preach. Legally, she is allowed to preach on campus as long as she follows specific rules associated with the university.
Gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction.
So what happens typically when somebody shows up to speak? One of us comes out and talks to them about kind of some of our rules and regulations about speech on campus. And some of those things are, you know, it can't overly disrupt the normal operations of the university. We don't want the speakers to kind of follow students and harass them. And we don't want any type of insightful speech or that kind of stuff. And so, you know, as long as they follow those rules, I guess that, you know, without any amplified sound and they're not disruptive to class, then it's not a real problem. When a problem happens is, you know, if a person follows a student or is harassing them in some way, approaching the student instead of allowing the student to approach them, or if a situation arises that our security staff or somebody feels that there's a threat to the health and safety of any student or the speaker themselves, we'll stop it. But outside of that, you know, we really want to support the free exchange of ideas.
Diverse opinions rose from all students. Some agreed with her, some challenged her, others mocked her, and some stayed just to see if there would be a fight.
Everyone is good and bad. Like, everyone has dark thoughts, but then what you do with those thoughts is who you are. And she's telling people, like, they have those thoughts, so that makes them a bad person, and that's wrong. Like, it's flawed from the get-go, and I just had to question it. I had to question her. And then I'm seeing now that it's, like, pointless, because she's just, I'll be like, here's a question, answer. It should be in a straight line, and then she'll do this, and then go on to a completely different topic. And it's just fruitless.
Why do you people give her the time of day? Students would often be heard saying throughout the crowd, yet each one stayed to hear her speak from anywhere from 1 to 5 hours, 3 days in a row.
I'm a believer, I follow Jesus, but obviously like what she's doing is crazy, whatever, but it's cool that she does have that boldness to go out there. I don't agree with what she's saying, but it's cool that like she speaks like what she feels. Like I wish more of us had like that ability and stuff, and like not so much what she's saying is having power, but yesterday I came down here after and just saw like different groups of all different types of people just having discussions and like just all coming together over that. And so it was cool. Like what she's doing is dividing, but afterwards when people were just hanging out, like I saw like communities being built out of people who don't normally, like would never talk to each other. So I thought that was really cool.
Cummings didn't shy away from the crowd. She embraced it with open arms. She even videotaped her entire time here at UTC. She posted 14 videos on her YouTube page solely devoted to her time here. The titles range from Revival or Riot, Pot Smokers and Porn Freaks, Wrath of God, or Cops Controlling the Crowd.
Most of it has been very judgmental. Yesterday I heard that she was speaking in tongues, but today I haven't seen any of that. Today she was singing though, but other than that, most of her demeanor has been very judgmental, very condescending, very all-knowing. It's like she's trying to play God instead of preach about Him.
UTC police was there to control the crowd, standing in the inside of the circle. Students did try to challenge Cummings and brought antagonizing signs to show her.
We didn't really anticipate the crowds yesterday, but when she said she was, the speaker there said she was coming back, we decided we'd be a little bit more prepared today in case the event got big. It's a very well-mannered event, and so we're following inside the minimum rules we got in place to protect life safety on crowds, whether they're inside or outside. We've got a ratio, and we're well within the ratio, and the crowd has been great. I mean, it's freedom of speech.
Angela Cummings is an evangelist born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She was adopted when she was 4 weeks old by two parents, Janie and Harold Cummings. Throughout her youth, Cummings was addicted to alcohol and drugs. She became pregnant at 18. She saw some street preachers outside of the abortion clinic, and when she didn't have enough money for an abortion, she walked out and started praying. According to Cummings' website, she continued to be addicted to drugs and alcohol throughout her pregnancy, but she received exactly what she prayed for, a boy with brown eyes. Even after her pregnancy, she continued to be involved in the wrong crowd. She eventually got involved in AA meetings to come clean. Cummings attended a concert in her early 20s where she accepted God into her life. She has been preaching for 12 years. Since 2011, she has traveled the world specifically focusing on street preaching.
Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except through Him.
If you'd like to know more about Cummings and her life, you can visit her webpage at preacherwoman.webs.com or just search Angela Cummings on YouTube and Facebook.
Each semester, Student Government Association goes through an election process to find new members to represent the organization.
SGA is one of the few organizations, I think, on this campus, I know, and on most college campuses, where you can really enact change. So you can have an idea, you can hear a concern, and you can actually affect a change on that campus. So you can reflect what you want UTC to be through participation in SGA.
The members of SGA are viewed as leaders in decision-making that influences fellow students' lives.
For the voting, there are 5 districts, I believe. And each student is represented by the college that they are a member of. And then the 5th one is actually if you're an undecided major, then the 5th district is for undecided students, undecided majors. So you vote via whichever college or major that you are currently in. So each district, which are the colleges, will have so many representatives, and you vote by that. And senators run for their college.
In order to run for a position, students must fill out an application packet and attend a mandatory informational meeting. Students then must campaign themselves to the campus.
This semester it'll be shorter than it will be next semester. In the spring, we'll have executive members campaigning, so people will be running for president, vice president, treasurer and different positions in the spring. For this semester, it'll be very simple. Students just will post up flyers if they wish to, or go around and they can talk to organizations, or they can talk to their friends and just ask them to vote for each other.
Members of SGA are decided by the students. Fall elections begin November 4th and voting ends on November 8th.
The Disabilities Resource Center held a program Tuesday night to open the air for all students to talk about 4 different disabilities affecting UTC. Martin Davis put together a panel of current and former students who shared their experiences of growing up with a disability to educate UTC in honor of Disability Awareness Month.
And it's a pivotal time in college to be able to interact with one another and be open about your disability and not be afraid to tell someone who you are in fear that they might feel sorry for you or they might look down upon you because you're not the same as them. Well, guess what? You're not the same as anybody. And so we're not here for any of that. We're here to educate you about spina bifida, about autism, about limb-girdle, and about dwarfism.
Preston Collin has autism. Bliss Sheets-Welch has limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. Martin Davis has spina bifida. Allie Messier has dwarfism.
So spina bifida is a neural tube defect, and it is the most common disability in our country. 1 out of every 1,000 live births in this country have some form of a neural tube defect, and the majority of those are spina bifida. There are 4 types of spina bifida, and I'm not going to go into detail about all 4 of them, but the one that we're going to focus on today is myelomeningocele. And that's a really big, fancy doctor word for sac on the outside of your spine. So if I take, I apologize, undress the baby, and I'm going to open up her spine. And so during 8 weeks of gastrulation during pregnancy, the neural tube fails to form. And when that neural tube fails to close, spina bifida is the result of that. And typically, for myself especially, what happens is the failure of the neural tube fails to close, and a large sac that is made up of part of your spine protrudes from your spine outside, and it just hangs there.
I'm glad we're at where we are today because there are people like myself who don't necessarily need that. There are people that do need that kind of thing. Autism is on what's called a spectrum. You can think of it sort of as a rainbow because it stretches very broad across a multitude of people, and there are different hues of severity, if you would call it that, with autism. And the diagnostic manual for autism is not exactly clear on what the difference between high-functioning and low-functioning autism is. There's some hard definitions about it. There used to be specific terms for autism.
A janitor pulled me out of class, and I knew who he was, and asked me, he said, what is going on with you? And I told him that day what had been going on, and he's the only one, besides my mom, that stood up for me. A janitor. Not that anything is wrong with the janitor, but a teacher who I see every day, who I sat right in front of her, didn't say one word. Not even a peep. And to this day, oh, I can't stand her. But, I mean, that's just my thing. I have issues with that. No, just kidding. But my point is, you know, as teachers, if you see something like that, please do something about it. Because, yes, I thank God for the janitor for saying something to me. And the guys have mentioned to you, if you are picked on day after day after day, life isn't all hunky-dory. You know, you don't think that anybody believes you. You don't think that anybody will stand up for you. So what is your purpose? Nobody's going to stand up for you. And I think if you as a teacher notice that and you help them, just look what it will do to them. Because you don't know where the pictures are going. And 2, it's degrading. You know? Because we're not ready for it. Tell me, please. I'll take a picture with you, but if it's just of me, please don't.
16, I started noticing that I had issues climbing steps, and I couldn't walk a timed mile in less than 12 minutes. so I started my medical journey there and was actually first misdiagnosed and treated for a couple of years and got my proper diagnosis when I was 19. And dysferlin was only named in 1998, and I was diagnosed in 2000. So it was very, very new. Dysferlin is basically when you work out and your muscles rip and tear. It's like the Band-Aid that goes in that holds everything together to make your muscles stronger. So my parents both passed on a recessive trait, which led me to be dysferlin deficient.
If you would like to learn more about these disabilities or others, please visit the DRC located on the first floor of Frist.
Tuesday, students had the opportunity to attend UTC's drag show. The event was sponsored by RHA, CAB, Spectrum, Women's Action Council, and Housing's Diversity Committee.
So the title of this drag performance is It's Not Just a Costume. So typically when it comes to drag, by definition, it is just a costume. But what we're focusing on with this program is what their costume has meant to them in their lives. So this means what drag has meant to them as far as how they identify, their sexual orientation, their personal lives, how they relate through drag to the queer community or how they don't. So.
The drag show was a unique learning experience for students to understand the different aspects of diversity through sexual identity.
I just think it'll be interesting. I mean, I have no interest in doing it myself, but I think it'll be cool to see other people just express themselves in different ways.
Is this like a pageant?
We need the lights to go
dim.
Hold on.
Get our pageant stance.
Through the performances of the drag queens, the show brought awareness to the LGBTQ community and the understanding of drag and transgender. Over 200 students attended the event.
Ashley has our sports update. Let's head to her to see what UTC athletics are up to. Ashley?
Thanks, Tia and Emily. Hey Mocs fans, and welcome to your sports updates this weekend. The Lady Mocs soccer team had a not-so-happy ending to their season Wednesday night when they lost to Samford 7-1. That left them with a 5-14 overall record and a 0-10 record in league play. The wrestling team will open up their season next Friday, November 8th, when they host Cumberland at 5 o'clock and Wisconsin at 6:30. The team has been picked to win the SoCon title this year, and if they do it, it'll be their 28th league title out of only 36 years competing. Our football team will head to North Carolina Saturday to take on SoCon opponent Appalachian State at 3:30. Currently, the Mocs have won 6 of their 8 games and are ranked 4-1 in their conference for the first time since 1997. They are on a 4-game winning streak right now and hoping to get that number 5 on Saturday. Don't forget you can catch all the live action, including stats and game video, at gomocs.com. That was your Mocs Sports Minute. Keep that blue and gold spirit alive. Until next time, I'm Ashley Brookman, and go Mocs.
That does it for this weekend's Mocs News. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to check out our videos uploaded through the week to YouTube.
We air on Housing Channel 2.3 and Cable Channel 3, so tune in. Until next time, have a great weekend from all of us here at Mocs News.